Hey friends, welcome back. I'm Lina, and this is Slow English Podcast. I want to ask you something. Right now, look around you. Do you have a phone nearby? Maybe you are listening to this on your phone. That phone, that screen, that little device that connects you to the entire world, someone had to imagine it first. Someone had to look at the future and say, I can build that. Today's story is about that person. His name was Steve Jobs. And his story is not just about technology. It's about creativity, failure, obsession, and never, ever giving up on your vision. I will tell you his story in slow, simple English. I will explain every difficult word, and I promise you, this one is going to stay with you. You don't need to know anything about computers. You don't need to understand technology. Just listen and let the story do its work. Ready? Let's begin.
Hello, friends. Welcome. Don't forget to subscribe.
Today, I want to tell you about Steve Jobs. He was the co-founder of Apple, one of the most valuable and recognized companies in the history of the world. He also co-founded Pixar, the studio behind movies like Toy Story, Finding Nemo, and The Incredibles. Steve Jobs was not just a businessman. He was something harder to describe. He was a visionary. Now, what does visionary mean? A visionary is someone who can see things that don't exist yet. They imagine the future before it happens. They see possibilities where other people see nothing. Steve Jobs was exactly that kind of person. But here is something important. His life was not a straight line to success. It was full of painful turns, shocking failures, and moments where everything fell apart. And that is exactly what makes his story so powerful. So, here is what we will do today. First, I will tell you about Steve's early life, a story that surprises most people. Then, I will walk you through the big moments, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. And at the end, I will share his most important lessons, the ideas that changed the world. This is not just a story about Apple. This is a story about what it means to believe in something completely, even when the whole world tells you you're wrong. All right, let's go. Before we begin, I need to tell you something. Most people think they know Steve Jobs. They think, oh yes, the iPhone guy, the black turtleneck, the Apple logo. But Steve Jobs' story is much deeper than that. His story is not about inventing technology. It is not about making money. It is not even really about computers. Steve Jobs' story is about one single idea. The idea that design and humanity and technology can come together to create something beautiful. He believed that objects should not just work well. They should make you feel something. They should be beautiful, simple, human. He once said something that I think about a lot. He said that creativity is just connecting things. Connecting things, that sounds simple, right? But think about it. Most people look at two separate ideas and see two things. Steve Jobs looked at the same two ideas and saw what they could become together. That was his gift. Now, who was Steve Jobs really? He was born on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco. His birth parents were young university students who could not take care of him. So Steve was adopted, taken in and raised by a kind couple named Paul and Clara Jobs. Paul Jobs was a mechanic, someone who fixes machines. He taught young Steve something very important. Even the parts of a product that nobody sees must be made with care. Steve never forgot that lesson, and it became the heart of everything Apple ever made. He was a difficult student, restless, curious, and rebellious. He didn't like following rules. He liked asking why. Why does it work this way? Why can't it be better? Why does no one try to change this? That question, why, drove everything he did. In the next part, I will take you through the real story, the beginnings, the rise, the fall, and the return. Let's begin.
Chapter 1. The Garage Where It All Started. Let me paint you a picture. The year is 1976. A small suburban house in Los Altos, California. In the garage, not an office, not a lab, just a garage, two young men are building something. One of them is Steve Jobs. He is 21 years old. The other is his best friend, Steve Wozniak. Everyone calls him Woz. Woz was a technical genius, a person with extraordinary natural talent for engineering. Woz had built a small personal computer, just for fun. He wanted to share the design with other engineers for free. But Steve Jobs saw something else. He looked at that machine and said, "Woz, people will pay for this." That moment, right there in that garage, was the beginning of Apple. They started selling their first computer, the Apple I, from that same garage. Steve would take orders on the phone. Woz would build the machines by hand, one by one. Now, here's a word I want you to know: entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone who starts a new business, takes risks, and tries to create something new. Steve Jobs was a natural entrepreneur. He didn't have engineering skills like Woz, but he had something just as powerful. He could see what people wanted before they even knew they wanted it. Within a few years, Apple became one of the fastest-growing companies in American history. By 1984, they released the Macintosh, the first personal computer with a mouse and a simple visual screen that anyone could use. The world had never seen anything like it. But behind the scenes, a storm was coming. That, my friend, is Chapter 1. Chapter 2. The Fall. I want you to imagine something. You build a company from nothing, from a garage, from zero. You give it your name, your energy, your soul. You spend 10 years making it grow. And then one day, the board of directors, the people in charge, vote to remove you. They fire you from your own company. That is exactly what happened to Steve Jobs in 1985. He was 30 years old. After a difficult conflict with the company's CEO and the board of directors, Steve Jobs was pushed out of Apple, the company he created, the company he loved. He described it later as the most devastating thing that had ever happened to him. Now, what does devastating mean? Devastating means something that causes very deep pain, emotionally, psychologically, completely, like a storm that destroys everything in its path. Steve Jobs was devastated. But here is where the story gets interesting. He didn't disappear. He didn't stop. He started again. He created a new computer company called Next. He bought a small animation studio and transformed it into something remarkable. That studio became Pixar. In 1995, Pixar released Toy Story, the world's first fully computer-animated feature film. It was a massive success. Steve Jobs was back, not at Apple, but back. And then something unexpected happened. Apple, the company that had fired him, was in serious trouble. They were losing money, their products were failing, they needed help. In 1997, Apple bought Next, and as part of the deal, Steve Jobs came back. He returned to the company he had built. He returned to the place that had broken his heart. And what he did next changed the world forever. That, my friend, is Chapter 2. Chapter 3, The Second Act. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, the company was weeks away from bankruptcy. Bankruptcy, that means a company has no money left. It cannot pay its bills. It is about to die. Apple had too many products, too many confusing models, no clear direction, no soul. Steve Jobs walked in and made one very bold decision. He cut almost everything. He looked at all of Apple's products and said, "We are going to make 4 things, just 4, and we are going to make them perfectly." That decision to simplify, to focus, to say no, that was pure Steve Jobs. He always said, deciding what not to do is just as important as deciding what to do. Let me say that again slowly. Deciding what not to do is just as important as deciding what to do. Think about that in your own life for a moment. Then came the products. In 2001, the iPod, a small, beautiful device that held 1,000 songs in your pocket. Before the iPod, music players were big and complicated. After the iPod, music was personal, simple, and elegant. In 2003, iTunes and the iTunes Store. For the first time, you could legally buy a single song for just 99 cents. The entire music industry changed overnight. And then, January 9th, 2007, Steve Jobs walked onto a stage in San Francisco. He looked at the audience and said, "Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything." And then he introduced the iPhone. The iPhone was not just a phone. It was a phone, a music player, and an internet device all in one, with one screen, no buttons, just your finger and a piece of glass. The audience went silent. Then they exploded in applause. In that one moment, the world changed. That, my friend, is Chapter 3.
Chapter 4, The Philosophy. Now, I want to stop the story for a moment, because understanding what Steve Jobs built is only half the picture. The more important question is, how did he think? What was going on inside his mind that made him so different from everyone else? I want to share 3 ideas with you. Idea number 1. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Sophistication, this is a beautiful word. It means something that is highly developed, refined, and intelligent. Steve Jobs believed that the hardest thing to create is something simple. Anyone can make something complicated. Making something simple, truly simple, requires genius. Look at the iPhone. 1 button, 1 screen. A child can use it. But behind that simplicity are thousands of incredibly complex decisions, all hidden away.
That is sophistication through simplicity. Idea number 2. The journey is the reward. Steve Jobs was not motivated by money. He was motivated by the work itself, by the act of creating, building, and making things perfect. He pushed his teams to exhaustion. He demanded the impossible, but he also worked harder than anyone. He believed that if you love what you do, the difficult moments become meaningful, not painful. Now, are you doing something in your life that you truly love? Even learning English, if you find the joy in it, the hard days become part of the adventure. Idea number 3. Stay hungry, stay foolish. This is perhaps the most famous thing Steve Jobs ever said. He said it at a graduation speech at Stanford University in 2005. Stay hungry means never feel satisfied. Always want to learn more, do more, become more. Stay foolish means don't be afraid to try things that seem impossible or strange to other people. The people who change the world are often the ones who look foolish at first. Stay hungry, stay foolish. 3 words that Steve Jobs lived by every single day. That, my friend, is Chapter 4.
Chapter 5. The Last Chapter. In 2003, Steve Jobs received some very difficult news. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Diagnosed? This means a doctor examined him and found the illness. Pancreatic cancer is a very serious illness that affects an organ inside the body. He kept this private for a long time. He continued working, creating, leading. In 2010, Apple released the iPad. Again, the world changed. But Steve's health was getting worse. In August 2011, he stepped down as CEO of Apple. He was too ill to continue. On October 5th, 2011, Steve Jobs passed away. He was 56 years old. The world stopped for a moment. People left flowers outside Apple stores in cities around the world. Not because he was a president or a war hero, but because he had made their lives more beautiful. At his Stanford speech in 2005, just 6 years before, he had said something that now felt like he already knew his time was limited. He said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life." He was not afraid of death. He used the thought of death to remind himself to live fully, every single day. To not waste time living someone else's life. To not let the noise of other people's opinions drown out his own voice. He built Apple from a garage into the most valuable company in the world. He created products that are in the hands of billions of people. He made technology feel human. And he did it all by simply refusing to accept that the world could not be better than it already was. That, my friend, is Chapter 5.
So now, my friend, you have heard the story. The garage, the rise, the fall, the return, the products that changed everything, and the man behind all of it. 5 chapters, 1 extraordinary life. I want to leave you with just one thought today. Steve Jobs once said, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." You are here, right now, learning a new language. That is not a small thing. That is courage. That is exactly the kind of quiet, daily determination that Steve Jobs would have respected. So keep going. Stay hungry, stay foolish, and keep learning. One word, one story, one day at a time. This has been Slow English Podcast. I'm Lina. Until next time, think different, speak better, and never stop growing. Bye for now.